wish to be free, you must first fight. Today I'm going to talk about the art of having an emergency fund. Part 1, I discussed a lot of things about how to prepare, and I talked also about how this is a personal journey. There are certain things that I would know, and there are certain things that I still do not know, so do not take anything I say as financial advice. However, my knowledge could probably spark something in you. So I encourage anyone who listens to bring it to light, to take it to heart, and to dedicate yourself to listening to people who like to improve themselves and daily listen to podcasts just like mine. So here's the thing, guys. When it comes to an emergency fund, you have to understand that it's not going to be easy to get the money, okay? Do not think that the money that comes to you will come easy, because it won't come easy. Nothing in this life comes easy. Today, in this age, we are still in the most uncertain economy that has ever been. You guys want to have a better life. That's why you're hearing these channels. I understand. So, in order to have an emergency fund, guys, there is no other short answer but to work your ass off. You have to get the money. You have to try your best to do what you can to get yourself in the position to get yourself out of a crisis in case something goes wrong. Now, when I talk about an emergency fund, I talk about two things. Now, the first emergency fund is your 6 to 12 months of expenses. I call it the expense emergency fund. Why? Because in case your employer lets you go, I'm assuming you're a 9-to-5 employee, which most people are, then this is the case where you have to save 6 to 12 months of expenses minimum in order to get yourself out of a bad situation in case something does happen, right? Between now and then, right? You have to have something set aside, 6 months or 12 months of expenses, okay? This is very important because you never know what could happen. And if your boss lets you go, then you're going to be in big trouble because you are not prepared. So the second one is going to be your car fund / your immediate emergency where you need the money now, or else it's going to affect your net worth or your wealth in some way, form, shape, or another. Okay? If it's going to affect it negatively, then you must stop it at all cost. Both of these are to protect your assets. You use it to protect yourself. You have to learn to use this money wisely, okay? Because the rich use money wisely. And if you do not use your money wisely, then you're going to be stuck in the same rut, in the same hole where you're at. And this is the truth, okay? So both of these emergency funds are going to be something very important to have, both here and now, you know, when you pass, right? And that's what I'm saying, guys. The second emergency fund is definitely going to be important because I know a lot of people, you know, maybe a family member has died, you know, or will die, or something's going to happen where they're stuck with a $10,000 bill. It's going to be insane. Once the emergency happens, it happens and it's not going to wait for you. It's not going to wait for you to, oh, okay, I'm going to decide to have an emergency fund now. No, guys, you got to have it as soon as possible. That's why I said that it is very important to have an emergency fund, because if you don't have an emergency fund, then you're going to get stuck in a rut that might become even a bigger problem. So that's why I encourage everybody to have an emergency fund. 2 emergency funds. Now, if you're like me, where I have credit cards, I've managed to control the way I use my credit cards to the point where I can treat it as an emergency fund as well. You know, I try to use less of the cash that I have from the emergencies that I have. In case there is an emergency, I will not use that cash. I will use rather my credit cards, right? But like I said, this is next level type mindset. First, you have to build the mindset of getting your cash right to save for those 2 emergency funds. Right now, I encourage anyone, if you're just starting out, step number 1 is to save $1,000 for your emergency fund. Save $1,000. Save a good chunk of that money for your first emergency fund, for your first one, which is your expenses, and then keep building it up. Minimum 6 months. I go for 12 months, but if you can't, 6 months, okay, and then move forward and fund the second emergency fund. If you have a car, calculate how much will it cost if your car breaks down. Calculate in Google, just go to Google, calculate how much the expenses on that car, like if it gets damaged, you know, if a part gets damaged, calculate how much it will cost you to pay for that, and then you will save that much just in case. And just in case something, you know, crazy happens, like for example, obviously you're not going to save a ton of money, because obviously the purpose of having these emergency funds is to have a nest egg of something. If something were to happen, guys, then you wouldn't be stuck in a rut. That's what it's for. It's not for oh, okay, I'm going to save a bunch of money, like 10K, 20K. No, it's not for that. Because I know that a lot of people don't have that much money, right? But the reality is life's expensive, right? But you have to have something aside so that when the time does come where you're going to need it, then you're going to need it. You know, as simple as that, right? The fact is, guys, you have to understand nothing in this life comes easy. So you have to work your ass off, right? There's a lot of opportunities nowadays. There's always something opportunistic going on within the markets. I'm not going to talk a lot about what are those opportunities, right? But I'm telling you that there are opportunities out there. I've actually created a business because, like I said, guys, if you think about something, you got to do it. And so that's one of the reasons why I promote self-improvement. If you watch part 1 of my video, it talks a lot about, you know, what you should do, right? It's a summary of all the things that I'm talking about, right? But guys, an emergency fund is super important to have. If you don't have it, you're gonna get in a rut. I'm telling you, real estate might have an opportunity next year. Okay, that's why I have a house fund. I have an emergency fund. Okay, you know, I have a fund account. By the way, I'm giving you free 99-cent knowledge, guys. Okay, so you know when you want to splurge, like crazy, guys. Put some money aside for your fund account. You will not splurge like crazy because you will only have that much money in that single account. You won't touch your other accounts. You're going to touch that one account. Just felt like saying that right now, right? Put some money aside for your fund account. If you have a tendency to spend so much, you know, just put some money aside, you know, for that fund account. And you spend that much for that fund account, okay? So anyways, that's pretty much my take on that. Another hint would be, you know, make sure you have separate accounts. You have to separate your stuff from one another. Again, guys, I'm just encouraging. This is not financial advice. This is just my journey. I'm sharing my knowledge that what I know, okay? What I know, what I understand. By the way, guys, I'm only advising about the emergency fund, the 2 emergency funds that I'm telling you guys, only to do it once you've destroyed most of your active debts. Obviously save something in the bank, right? But the majority of your money, for every dime and dollar you get, will go towards your bad debt. And subscribe, comment, share, like, and I will see you next time. Peace.